Good morning, Neelsville Presbyterian Church family. I'm Tony Panettiere, one of the elders serving on session, and I want to welcome you back to in-church worship. For the past several months, I've been part of a protocol team where we've been attempting to come up with a good plan for when the weather turned colder this fall and we'd have to have the in-church worship option available. We've enjoyed being outside over the summer to help with mitigating any risks from the coronavirus pandemic, but now with the colder temperatures, we feel that we'll have to come back inside, and we're planning on that for the 1st of November, that Sunday. I'm talking to you now from the 23rd of October, and this is what in brief, our plan will be as we roll back into the church for services. To start with, we'll be having a check-in desk to check to see if you have any symptoms of coronavirus. Obviously, if you're already aware of having a fever, you feel ill, you know you've had recent contact with someone with coronavirus, or even if you traveled to an area in the prior week where the incident of the coronavirus was relatively high. And while you may not have symptoms, you may have had an increased exposure risk. We'd ask you not come to church at least for a week to be sure that you develop no symptoms. Additionally, there'll be online registration for coming to church. Due to the current phase 2 limitations, there are only so many people that can come into the church. We're going to have a sign up online that you can register for. There'll be a certain cutoff point, and it's going to be randomized as well certain weeks. So if you tried to get in the prior week and were unable to do so because of full capacity, you can apply the next week and you'll have some priority over others who maybe were able to come the prior week. The registration is going to be for household of those members you live with. So not friends, even if they maybe don't have a lot of exposure, even if they're relatives visiting, we only recommend at this point that it be with the household you live with, where you've had experience and a knowledge of what kind of exposures those individuals have. When you get here, we're going to ask you to enter through the ramp area, and there'll be the check-in setup up at the top here, and that way we can allow for social distancing as people queue up waiting to get into the church building. We're going to want people to be here by at least 10:30 as the service starts at 11, and it gives us ample time to get you seated, questioned, make sure you have a mask, and all the other details are carried out before the church service starts. Once you enter the church, you'll be met by the protocol volunteers who will make sure that you are registered to attend the service that day and also have no signs or symptoms of the COVID virus. There's also ample hand sanitizer throughout the church here as you need to. And again, you'll be keeping your mask on at all times while you're inside the building. Once you're in the narthex, you'll be ushered to your seat inside the church here. We'll be seating to the front first and going toward the back, and then we'll be dismissing from the back first to go to the front. The effort is designed to minimize people passing each other. Additionally, we're taking precautions with the tech team over here. They're going to have plexiglass between each of them as well as here at the aisle. There'll be roped off pews here to help with distribution of people to keep at least the 6 and possibly 12-foot distance. And also singing will be permitted, although it's requested to be in rather quiet tones so as not to saturate the mask with a lot of moisture, which is thought to decrease the effectiveness. The entire time you're here with your household, you need to keep your mask on. Even when you're singing, the worship team will have theirs off periodically, but they will be socially distanced and far away from the congregation. Additionally, we've made efforts inside the church here to increase ventilation so that there's a good turnover of air throughout the service. The fan is actually going to be kept on 24 hours a day. We've met with the heating and ventilation contractors, and they have told us that approximately 5 air exchanges happen per hour. We don't exactly know what the optimal number is, but this church is fortunate because one of the returns is bringing in outside air. We're also going to be having the windows and the doors open when it is possible, which should be at least through the next few months, unless it gets too cold. And that will also help with dilution. And we're also looking at increasing the filter density so that there's better, with at least return air, we'll have a better chance of cleaning it and filtering out any viruses that way as well. In addition to seating congregants inside the sanctuary, we'll also have some seating out here in the narthex, as well as some here in the Welcome Center. And the number of families that can sit in each of theirs will depend on the phase that we're in, and more information will be found on the website regarding that number. For additional information, check out our Neelsville Presbyterian Church website. That's neelsville.org. It's there that you'll be able to register for the in-church worship service, as well as review any of the protocol information that I spoke about today. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you soon.